This is the first time we've talked about Sprite Synchro on this channel, and it likely won't be the last, given the fact that they just got a whole new toy in the form of RINGOWURM, the dragon guarding the 100 apples. Really weird name, really cool card. So as a level 2 tuner, what this card basically does is it allows you to banish itself from the graveyard to summon a level 2 token to your side of the field that can be used as a tuner or a non-tuner for a synchro summon. Basically, this gives the deck access to a really ridiculously powerful tuner monster that suits Sprite cards perfectly and opens up a ton of doors. So this is a sort of Sprite BYSTIAL synchro deck that has been going around. This one in particular was developed by none other than Grim from our Discord. He was giving me advice on how to pilot this as well during the gameplay. Really powerful deck. Grim himself is a huge fan of the deck, so if you want more guidance on how to play it specifically, you can hop into the Discord to get more sort of hints and tips from the main man himself. Other than that, we're going to cover off most of the main combos here in this video. So we've got a few games lined up with the two of us. We're playing in ranked Diamond 2, I believe we were in at the time. Really powerful gameplay, really solid deck. We're going to do a deck profile at the end for anybody who isn't wholly familiar with the cards. Of course, there's quite a, not only is there some new cards in here, there's some cards in here that maybe people aren't definitely familiar with that are a little bit older. So yeah, we're going to cover off how it actually works in the gameplay. We're going to do a deck profile at the end. Pretty straightforward stuff. If you're interested in this style of content or anything else really that we do here, be it our streams or live gameplay, whatever it is you're into, we put up new content every single day. So if that's something you want to be keeping up to date with, all you got to do is subscribe. You can always hop into the Discord as well. Check out our other pages, DeviantArt, Twitter, whatever. It's all there. It's all free. Why not, right? But I'm not going to take up too much more of your time. Let's get into the gameplay. Alright, getting into our first game here, we're going to be going a little bit nuts. We're going to start off our turn with tuning, grabbing Assault Synchron, of course, from the deck, milling a Saronir, which is a hell of a mill because that allows us to send Lubellion to the grave as well. Normal summon the Ringworm, special summon out Sprite Blue, being met with an Imperm, a bit of an early Imperm there, but what else realistically at this stage are we going to hit with Crossout Designator? I decide, fuck it, let's just do it, right? Because blue is very useful. This search is going to be good. We're going to grab ourselves Sprite Jet. Sprite Jet special summons out to the field, gets searching our deck for Smashers, which is a very key part of Interruption. Summon out the carrot, special summon out the Assault Synchron. Now we're going into Cupid Pitch, and this is where the Sprite Synchro deck comes out, increasing its level by 2, so we can Synchro summon into the Chaos Ruler. Chaos Ruler mill 5, while Cupid Pitch gets searching our deck for a monster with 800 defense. We're going to search our deck for, of course, the Nemesis Corridor or the Calico Clawcrow. Using our Chaos Ruler search, we're going to grab Drissworm from the top of our deck, milling the rest of the cards to the grave. Branded Beast, unfortunately, being among them, but it is what it is. We're going to summon out Lubellion to the field. We're going to use Lubellion's effect. We're going to play the Branded Regain directly to the field. RINGOWURM now going to banish itself to play a token. We're going to use Branded Regain, perhaps slightly prematurely, to draw an additional card, drawing into the Goat Maxi. Going in now to BYSTIAL Dispatter. We're going to banish 2, summoning out the Chaos Ruler back from the graveyard. We still do have that token on the board, which can count as a tuner, allowing us to go into a full power Chaos Angel. Lastly, the Sprite, the Assault Synchron will banish itself, allowing for the third summon of the Chaos Ruler. We're going to banish the Sprite Jet, bringing out the Drissworm, going into Sprite Elf now. Elf then having the ability to bring back the Ringworm from the grave, using these two to finally summon out the Baron de Fleur as well. Nemesis Corridor shuffling back the banished Saronir, then tributing itself off to summon out Thunder, Dragon, Colossus, and this is the types of boards you're talking about. This is absolutely nuts. We've got our negate here, floodgate protection here. We got recursion, we got banishment, we got targeting protection, we've got the floodgate. It's just insane. It is a crazy board. I couldn't be happier with how this turns out. And you know what? This is not like a one-off. This is not a rare occurrence. This is what the deck does, right? Insane. Moving into our opponent's turn. I don't know why they're even still here. They go for a Hero Lives as if we're gonna like let that happen. We're gonna bring back Kara from grave, activating Maxi then in response to the carrot as well, and our opponent decides that what Maxi was the thing that drove you over the edge. What were you gonna summon? You couldn't summon Vion to search for anything. You couldn't summon Stratos to search for anything. You couldn't search off of your Shadow Mist. What were you gonna do? But anyways, I appreciate the attempt, especially from the heroes. I believe he turned out to be playing Scarclaw. He wasn't actually playing heroes, which is funny considering, you know, yesterday's video. But, you know, it is what it is. Yeah, a lot of fun. Game 2. Alrighty, getting into game 2 here. We're going second this time, so let's see how we can cope with going second against one of the big bads of the metagame, Branded. Going for Branded opening here on the Albert, just trying to bait this Ash Blossom in as many different ways as he knows how. Gonna go for the Quem sending Cartesia before going for the Branded Fusion, being met, of course, with Ash Blossom, the slayer of rogue decks, as well as Branded, stopping the Branded Fusion dead in a track, but he's not done yet. He has the Driss Run, banishing the Mercurier, using its effect to search the deck now for Albion, the Shrouded Dragon. Going to use Albion's effect and to send Retribution from the deck to the graveyard to mulligan for 1, and then pass turn. Not exactly the most fearsome board I've ever seen these guys set up, but certainly a decent one. We top deck into the Imperm, which was just rude, and then our opponent goes for Maxi. Now, I know what you're thinking, right? In this situation, you've got two options. You can either pass turn and hope to maybe survive for the Maxi, or what you can do, if you're a real fucking Chad, you just full send it. When you're playing Sprite, you just fucking send that bitch and you just win this turn. We're gonna go for Tuning now. Tuning gonna grab the Assault Synchron. We're gonna mill an Assault Synchron off the top of the deck. Summon the red, summon the blue. We're gonna use blue to search for Jet. Jet now gonna summon out to the field for free after Retribution activates in their graveyard, grabbing back Branded Fusion from their grave. I'm assuming they were just sick of seeing the toggle. We're gonna summon out the Jet, using its effect, searching our deck for the Smashers. Our opponent, of course, drawing a card every single time we summon. We do not care. Summoning out the Assault Synchron so we can go into Cupid Pitch. Cupid Pitch then boosting its level by 2. Synchro summoning off into the Chaos Ruler. Chaos Ruler mill 5. Cupid Pitch gets searching for a card. Cupid Pitch, of course, as we saw in the last game, has a few abilities. It can search for your Nemesis Corridor. It can search for your Calico Clockrow. Those are the primary search targets, whereas the Chaos Ruler is going to mill 4 different Bystials. We're going to grab the Baldric out of them. We're going to do 800 points of damage, grabbing the Corridor. We're going to use Saronir and Grave. Saronir milling Lebellion, because why not? We're just spinning the deck at this stage. Banishing a card to summon the Magnamut. Our opponent has a pretty girthy hand. We're going to tribute off that Chaos Ruler, summoning out Lebellion from the graveyard. We're going to use Lebellion, playing Regain from the deck, because we once again milled Branded Regained. We're going to banish 2 to summon out the Chaos Ruler from the graveyard once more. We're going to use now the Branded Regain, shuffling back Lebellion, drawing an additional card. We're going to use 2 monsters to go into Sprite Elf. Sprite Elf is going to be how we recycle back our tuners from the grave, bringing back an Assault Synchron, using these 2 to go into Bystial Dispatter. Assault Synchron then going to bring back the Chaos Ruler from the banish pile, bringing it back once more for our third summon. Now we're going to use what we were going to do was we were going to use the Bystial Dispatter to bring back a banished Assault Synchron, using the Assault Synchron and the Lebellion to go into a Chaos Angel, banishing a card, swing, 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 easy lethal. Just like that. Even taking on the challenge through Maxi, they cannot stop you. Unless they're playing like major board breakers, unless they're playing something that can outright halt you in their deck. Which is never die, right? It's Nibiru or die, and even then, that's why we have stuff like the Bystial Dispatter on our field, to try and negate those cards before they become relevant. Unless they hard draw into Nibiru before you're ready to negate it, you just take the Maxi challenge every time, and you just fucking win. You just win. That's the plan. Going first, I don't know, but going second, just beat their fucking ass. Anyways, let's get in to game 3. Relative to the last couple of games, this one's going to seem pretty mid, because we've got nothing. Now, what I wanted to do is, I hate uploading videos that are just wins. I don't like acknowledging a deck without acknowledging its weaknesses, and there are in this deck certain points of inconsistency because you're playing a lot of high-level monsters. So things like your Bystials, things like that are inevitably going to break up your hands. You are going to have to, at some stage, decide whether or not you want to play certain things. We are going to go for Saronir here, banishing the Lolo Walleth before I can actually use its effect. We still have 2 copies of Call By, so it's not as if we're completely done. They are going to get rid of Gigantic Sprite, milling 7 cards from our Rector deck, man. 7 cards. Big damage. They're going to go for Herald of the Arclight. We're going to use one of our Call Bys on that Herald, because, again, we might as well at this stage. We've only got 1 Call By left, and it is our only form of interruption. What we need to do is we need to top deck into a usable card so we can turn this game around. They're going to take out our Saronir. Saronir then going to mill Lebellion from deck to grave. They're going to take their 15 and they're going to pass back to us. Going to get their licks in and move on. We need any level 2 monster, and that is the one, possibly the worst one, but one nonetheless. Normal summon the Maxi, special summon the Sprite Blue. We grab Jet because we're slightly stupid. We're going to summon the Jet going into the Sprite Elf. Now, Elf is going to use its effect, bringing back the Maxi from the graveyard. I targeted Maxi because I didn't want to get hit with a potential BYSTIAL, but the Fleur-de-Lis single-handedly ends my entire turn because the Albazoa sent all of my extra deck shit to the grave, and I was not about to sit here and watch Dogmatica try to kill me for 3 turns. So I peaced out. I didn't want to show off the deck without first acknowledging the fact that yes, you are playing BYSTIALs, yes, you are going to be in situations where you're unable to play the game. It is not a perfect deck. It is going to have weaknesses, and that is simply inevitable with any deck that you play. Every deck has its weaknesses. I didn't want to post this up and then have people complain to me that they were bricking on certain cards. It is a very consistent deck, but it is not perfect. But anyways, let's get into the actual deck profile and we can explore that in a little bit more detail. And here it is, the actual deck list itself. You're going to go through this card for card just so that everybody is on the same page and we know exactly what it is we're looking at. So we're going to start by removing any hand traps so that you know how many flex spots you've got to work with. We have the Triple Maxi, of course. Triple Maxi is pretty core because it's also a level 2 monster. You would be an absolute moron not to play this card at 3. Almost mandatory. Triple Ash, of course. Double Call By, Single Cross Out, as many counters to the Sheesh as you can possibly get, as well as a Triple Infinite Permanence. We actually have room for that. So there is, if you want to keep it to 40 cards, there is at least 10 flex spots for you to play around with. Go nuts. This is the actual meat and bones of the deck itself. So let's get in and we'll talk first, of course, about the Sprite cards. For any of those who are unfamiliar with Sprites, Sprites haven't been on the tier list in a little bit, so some newer players may not be fully familiar with these cards. Basically, these are a series of level 2 monsters that can special summon themselves to the field if you control another level, link, or rank 2 monster. So these guys all special summon themselves out of the field so long as you have another level 2, which is what the entire deck is based around. They all also have effects on field. Blue on summon will search your deck for a Sprite monster. Jet will search your deck for a Sprite, Spill, or Trap. Red contribute another level, link, or rank 2 to negate a monster effect. And Kara can do the same for a Spell or Trap. Very straightforward cards, easy summons, endless extension, pretty fun. That's pretty much the gist of the Sprite main deck. Monsters, and you also have Sprite Smashers, which will allow you to banish a Sprite monster from your graveyard, to banish a level 2 monster in your field, and any card in your opponent's field without targeting. So that is pretty damn solid. That's the entire Sprite cards in the main deck. How exactly are we making them work? Well, we're surrounding them with level 2 tuner monsters, specifically so we can access very, very powerful extra deck monsters. We have, of course, Shinobi Necro, one of the older ones, a zombie tuner, where if this card is banished from the graveyard by the effect of a monster, you can special summon this card back from the banish pile. This gives it a lot of flexibility in combination with cards such as Chaos Ruler and all of your BYSTIAL monsters, getting free access to virtually whatever you want from your deck. So the Shinobi Necro is definitely one of the better ones to be using in the deck. We actually have the non-tuner Caligo Clawcrow, which can special summon itself to the field so long as you control a dark monster, which is most of your cards. So the Caligo Clawcrow makes a very good free summon, and it is also searchable in your deck as part of your main combo through the likes of Cupid Pitch. So definitely worth playing at least one of. We have Assault Synchron, which comes in as the second best, or potentially best, alternative level 2 monster. We've got 2 copies of it and 3 copies of Tuning. Tuning basically just searching the deck for Assault Synchron. Assault Synchron is a level 2 tuner that can special summon itself to the field by paying 700 life points, but so long as it's face up, you are locked into Synchro, so that is worth bearing in mind. It also, if this card's in your graveyard and a Dragon Synchro monster is banished or tributed from your field, you get to banish this card from grave to special summon that monster back to the field. You saw in the gameplay how we abused that mechanic to get 3 summons out of our Chaos Ruler every single turn 1 in order to further facilitate extension plays, level 10 synchros, all that crazy stuff. So Assault Synchron definitely an integral part of the deck, and the fact that Tuning is one of the best, if not the best, searching spell card in the entire game helps add to that immensely. Not once per turn, just grabs it, no cost, and it even mills a card off the top of the deck. You saw in game 1 how he milled a Saronir off the top, and that completely turned the game around. So there is definitely a lot of things you can do with this card in this deck, and Assault Synchron is one of the better cards in the deck for sure. Then we have the new RINGOWURM, the dragon guarding the 100 apples. So Ringworm here basically is pretty damn solid. I talked about it at the start of the video, but essentially, if you control a non-effect monster, you can special summon this card from your hand, kind of like a Tingy type thing. How are you getting a non-effect monster in today's day and age? Well, what you're going to be doing is you can banish this card from your graveyard, and you can special summon a 100 apples token, which is a light level 2 monster that can act as a tuner for a synchro summon. So it can be a tuner or a non-tuner. Very, very useful, but it is also a non-effect monster. So if you happen to have one on the field and another copy of this card in hand, you can actually special summon this card for free, which is also really cool. It doesn't come up super often, but it's definitely worth bearing in mind. So yeah, I mean, everything about this card, generally speaking, is pretty damn cool. It's just another level 2 tuner that extends a whole bunch. I don't see why you wouldn't want to play it, right? It's pretty awesome. Then we have the BYSTIAL cards, of course. We have the Singular Magnomet, the Triple Saronir, 1 Drissworm, 1 Baldrake, the Triple Lubellion, and then the 1 Regained and Beast. So, why are we playing the ratios we're playing? Well, Magnomet and Drissworm are limited to 1. They're both phenomenal cards. All the BYSTIALs are summoned in the same fashion. You banish a light or dark monster from either player's graveyard, which can be a quick effect if your opponent controls a monster, and then you summon it into the field for free. So the Magnomet then on summon will activate to search your deck during the end phase of that turn for any dragon of your choosing. Drissworm, when sent from the field to the grave, will send a special summon monster your opponent controls to the grave as well. Saronir, when sent to the grave, will send a branded spell or trap card or a BYSTIAL monster from deck to grave. And Baldrake, while face up, contribute another light or dark monster on your field in response to the summon of an opponent's extra deck monster to banish that monster. Now, it all changes when it hits Lubellion, the big dog himself. This guy can discard himself from your hand to search your deck for any one of your other BYSTIAL monsters and add that card straight to your hand. You can also special summon himself from grave by tributing a level 6 or higher dark dragon on your field. That can be from graveyard or hand, by the way. You can special summon himself to the field, which is pretty damn awesome considering all of the BYSTIALs, including the one you just searched for, are all level 6 dark dragons. And lastly, if those first two effects weren't enough, lastly, he also gets to play a branded continuous spell or trap card directly from the deck face up. So you get to activate Branded Beast for additional popping of cards once per turn. If you control a BYSTIAL, you contribute a dragon to pop a card, or you can set up Branded Regained. Whenever a light or dark monster is banished, you get to target one of those monsters, shuffle it back to draw 1, and if your opponent summons a monster once per turn, you get to summon back a BYSTIAL from grave. Both of these cards are absolutely nuts. Cool little combo then with the Saronir as well. Branded Beast also has text on it that says during the end phase of the turn, you can target another branded continuous spell or trap in the graveyard and play it face up. So if your Saronir were to send the likes of Branded Regain to the graveyard, your Branded Beast then could recycle it during the end phase of that turn. And that, unironically, covers off the entire main deck in 7 minutes. I was expecting it to take a little bit longer, but the deck really isn't all that complicated. The one card that I missed out was Nemesis Corridor, which is here exclusively to summon the Thunder Dragon Colossus, which I will get to in just a moment. So the basis of the deck works along the principle that you're going to be using any one of your many level 2 tuners alongside one of your Sprite monsters or something of the sort to go into the Cupid Pitch, and that is where all of life's dramas begin. Cupid Pitch, when summoned, can boost or reduce its level by the level of the non-tuner used for its summon, by the level of the tuner used for its summon, in this case, level 2 of course, so it'll become a level 6 monster. This is a tuner, so in combination with any other level 2 monster on your board, you can then use this and that card to go into the Chaos Ruler. Chaos Ruler then, of course, will mill 5 cards off the top of the deck and will grab you any light or dark monster among them, but more importantly, when Cupid Pitch is used to synchro material, you get to search your deck for any monster that has 600 defense and add it to your hand. That is either your Nemesis Corridor if you are opening ideally, or if you've already got this guy through some unfortunate mishap, you can instead grab the Calico Clockrow. So Cupid Pitch searches for Corridor, which then enables your Colossus. Colossus can basically be special summoned by tributing a Thunder monster during the turn on which a Thunder monster's effect in hand was activated. So basically you're going to activate Corridor's effect, which will return a banished monster back to deck to special summon himself. Then you can tribute the Corridor to immediately summon the Thunder Dragon Colossus. Herald acts as a backup level 4 Synchro monster as an Omni Negate to protect your combos if you open especially well. Chaos Ruler we've talked about, other than its ability to banish both a light and a dark monster to revive itself back from the graveyard, but it is next banished from the field when it leaves the field essentially. We have the Axel Synchro Stardust Dragon. This card is here designed to make summoning the Bestial Dissipator even easier. On summon, it will bring back a level 2 or lower tuner monster and summon it back to the field and allow you further extension. So it's going to bring back basically any one of your cards of your choosing. We're on to Flurry. Once while face up, Omni Negate, and once per your turn you get to pop a card your opponent controls. It's hard to go wrong with a bit of Baron. The Bestial Dissipator, the brand new level 10 Dark Dragon Synchro monster that makes this deck even worth playing. Basically, once per turn you can target a banished later dark monster to special summon that monster back to the field. That effect by itself is already really good. It allows you quite a lot of extension depending upon what monsters you have currently banished, and you almost certainly will have something of value banished due to simply how Bestials work. Then, when your opponent activates a monster effect, you can target a banished card and shuffle it into the deck. Now, if you shuffled it into your deck, then you get to destroy that monster. If you shuffled it into your opponent's deck, you negate the activated effect. So, essentially, depending upon who has what, defines what type of interruption the Bestial Dissipator can inflict. Then we got Chaos Angel. Chaos Angel can be summoned out using light or dark monsters, even if you don't have a tuner involved. On summon, it'll banish a card your opponent controls, and depending upon the attributes of the materials used for its summon, it gains some additional effects. Number 1, if you use the light monster for its summon, all of your Synchro monsters become unaffected by your opponent's activated monster effects. If you use the dark monster in a summon, any monster you control cannot be destroyed by battle. Now, you can get both of those effects, and in most cases you normally will. That is kind of the whole point of playing the card. Getting those additional floodgate protections is usually very useful to ensuring the longevity of your board. It makes it so much more difficult for your opponent to get rid of, right? So Chaos Angel is pretty fucking dope. Gigantic Sprite, unironically, I didn't use during the testing at all. It basically just summons a level 2 monster from deck, but I don't really think that this card is super conducive to the strategy. I can see certain niche situations where it helps us out in unbricking a board that otherwise would have been terrible, but for the most part, this card is not that great, because you really don't want to be locked into level 2s. The moment you use Gigantic Sprite's effect, you're locked into level, link, and rank 2s, which is not good. Then we've got Al Mirage to basically turn your Shinobi Necro into an Al Mirage to send it to the grave, so it can be banished off a Bestial to do your whole Chaos Ruler shenanigans. This is purely here as a utility card for the Shinobi Necro specifically. IP Masquerena, because it's a generic Link monster, why wouldn't you play it? Sprite Elf, again, this is actually the deck that Sprite Elf was meant to be played in. Of course you're playing it. You might even want to play it more than one. This card can basically bring back a level 2 monster during either player's main phase, and anything it points to with its Link arrows cannot be targeted by card effects. Sprint on summon, send a level 2 monster from deck to grave. Pretty simple. Yeah, primarily I guess for the Shinobi Necro. There will be niche situations for the other tuners. I mean, I guess they're all kind of technically useful in the grave. So yeah, you could probably get away with quite a lot off of that card if I'm being honest. Maybe I underestimated it, but yeah, it is what it is. Avramax to be summoned off of IP, just an untargetable, indestructible beat stick that you can't swing at. It will gain your attack points, it will beat you in that fight, it will steal your bitch. Just don't fight it. And lastly then, speaking of bitch, we have the White Lady Jumpscare, the underworld goddess of the closed world. Summonable using one of your opponent's monsters as material, negates the effects of all monsters your opponent controls when summoned, and once per turn can negate the effect of a card that would summon a monster from grave. Very straightforward stuff. Again, the deck and the extra deck for this deck is not that complicated, so if you wanted to pick it up, if you are a fan of sprites or bestials or just making your opponent cry, this is definitely going to be the deck for you, and I would highly advise you pick it up and test it out. If you think of any cool strats, any additions, anything at all that you think we should bear in mind, you can of course hop into the Discord to share your opinions, or you can just leave it in a comment. But either way, all feedback is appreciated because, you know, we're all a community here, right? We all share information, we all get better at the game. If you want to check out some more of our deck profiles, you can look right above my head or to this side of me. You can see more decks on the screen. They're all really fucking cool. I would definitely recommend you go and give them a watch. You know, you can't go wrong. But I'm not going to take up very much more of your time. Subscribe, like the video, and I'll see you next time. Bye-bye.